In this video, we're going to talk about the 5 main reasons why pianists have issues at the keyboard. And I'm not just talking about injury or tension, but actually just things that hold us back as pianists. And this is actually an important concept that we have to think about, is that when we talk about avoiding injury or avoiding tension, it's not just a matter of avoiding those things. It's also a way of unlocking our potential at the keyboard. If we just think about it in those terms, we can understand that if I have my hand or my arm in an awkward position, it's going to hold me back, because we can do a simple little test and we can see how this works. So for instance, if I take my hand and I put it up like this and I try to wiggle my fingers, you'll feel it feels really tight through here, okay? We can do the same thing if I put my hand like this, okay? It feels really kind of tight on the bottom part of the hand. And you could see how if my hand is in those extreme sort of positions, that awkwardness can actually influence how we play the piano and make things more difficult. And so this is important to understand. So we're not just talking about injury, but we're also talking about things that limit us as pianists. And this is definitely something that I struggled with a lot when I was younger, when I wasn't taught these things. I had tension, but also I just had an inability to play faster or play things that were more technically challenging because I didn't know how to approach them or how to move in a coordinated way. So the 5 things that cause pianist trouble are isolating, curling, twisting, collapsing, and stretching. Now these are in no particular order, and we've actually talked, I think, about pretty much all of these concepts in most, or at least other videos. So they're not totally new concepts, but I wanted to make a video where I actually sort of go over all of these concepts together so that anyone watching this can sort of see how all of them kind of go together and how you can see them all in one video so that you can hopefully avoid those things in your own playing. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is isolating. Okay, so basically what this means is when we take a particular part of the playing apparatus, you know, the arm, the hand, the fingers, the wrist, and we isolate that particular part, okay? So sometimes, you know, you'll see people and they'll play and they're just really isolating their fingers. Nothing else is moving, okay? And we've talked a lot about in the past about how that's problematic. Even if you're using your fingers, of course we have to use our fingers, but we don't want to isolate them. So as I play, I can actually move everything together, okay? If I'm going to shift to a new position, I don't want to isolate my elbow and have everything else sort of in a stiff position. I want to be able to just shift my whole arm together. And again, we can see how this works if I take my arm and I hold it in a stiff position and I try to just isolate my fingers and I'm trying to hold everything in a still position. You can definitely do that, but what you'll feel is there's a sense of tightness and it sort of feels weird. Instead, if I play and I can move everything together, and you'll see in the overhead camera that my arm and everything just sort of moves as we go. And that goes back to that example if we put our hand up like this and try to wiggle the fingers, okay? If we're in an awkward position, basically what happens is that we're going to isolate a certain part of the body. And each finger, the arm will be in a different position in order for that finger to move really freely. So for instance, if I'm going to play my 5th finger, I don't want to be in this position where I'm sort of like oriented towards my thumb. I want to be in this position, so I'm more over here. And then when I do that, I can play my 5th finger just fine, okay? So we want to avoid isolating any particular part of the body.